The P-Flow D116 HD wall mount ultrasonic flow meter. The set includes the main flow transmitter, coupling compound, sensor mounting straps, wall mounting hardware, and we add a spare tube of superlube compound. Paperwork includes a packing list, a written quick start guide, factory calibration certificate and test report, factory manual, and a template for wall mounting. And finally, both an upstream and downstream sensor and cables. Some other things you will need for the install include a 12 to 36 volt DC power supply, various size screwdrivers, and a tape measure. To begin the install, first open the left and right screw covers and unscrew all 4 of the corner screws as shown. First the left side, and then the right side. Now open the flow meter, it hinges on the bottom. Now you can connect the wiring. In this example, we will just connect a 12 volt DC power supply here, and the upstream and downstream sensor cables, but there are various other connections for various inputs and outputs which you can refer to the manual for more information on. Take your power supply, then feed the wires through the left side cable glad. Insert the positive and negative power wires and tighten down the terminals. This wiring diagram shows the typical layout. But always refer to the markings on your physical device in case of change by the manufacturer. Now take the sensor cables and observe the labels and markings. Ensure the power for the flow meter is off. Loosen off the glands. Then insert this upstream cable into the second cable gland, as it's best aligned with the upside cable ports. Then you can take the downstream cable and do the same. Feed it through the cable gland next to it. Reopen the case. Here you can see on the board the marking where transducer cables are installed. Prepare each of these 6 ports for the transducer cables by unscrewing each one. Ensure the ports open enough to install the wires. Insert the wires into each of the ports, noting that the grey wire is for port marked E, red is positive, black is negative. Be sure that the upstream cable is wired to the UP ports and the downstream cable is wired to the DN ports. So we have inserted the wires on the upstream side first, and then inserted the wires to the downstream side. Now tighten all of the screws for these wires, and ensure none of them are touching and the wires are tightly held. Now you can close the case, and plug in your power source. The meter will turn on as soon as power is connected. We will be setting up the flow meter for this pipe. We can begin configuring parameters on the meter accordingly. The first menu for setup is menu 11. Press the menu button, then 1, 1. This opens the menu for setting the pipe outer diameter. In this case, I want to set it as 89 mm. Press enter to edit, type the OD, then enter again to confirm. Next press down, then enter again. Now enter the pipe wall thickness, which I have entered 3.4 mm in this case, then enter to confirm. Press down again to reach the pipe material setting. Press enter and then you can scroll the list of available materials with the up and down keys. In this case, I will choose stainless steel and press enter to confirm. Now press down again. The next option is for transducer type. Please check the label on your transducers or confirm the model you purchased. In this case, we can see it should be CP037 as marked on the sensors. Press enter, scroll the list of options, and choose your type accordingly. Press down again for the next menu. This is the option for transducer mounting method. We are using the most common and easy to use V method, but other methods are available and can be selected here. Press enter, scroll the list of options, and enter to select. Now down one more time and you can see the required sensor spacing, 57.1 mm in this case. Take note of this to gap the flow sensors accordingly. With this distance in mind, prepare the sensor mounting area, clean or sand any dirt, rust, or paint to create bare pipework. Now take the pipe straps and prepare them on the pipework, wrap them around the pipe and set up as much as possible to ease install of the sensors. I am first installing the upstream sensor. Take some couplant and apply a blob on the sensor surface. Use enough to cover the whole surface once it's squished onto the pipe. Now, noting the flow direction, Place the sensor onto the pipe and slide the strap over and tighten it down as best you can by hand. It's suggested to mount the sensors on the side of the pipe as shown, to avoid sediment at the bottom and air bubbles at the top. Now tighten the clamp with a tool and ensure it's firmly attached. Next, take a tape measure and measure out the required spacing which the meter displayed, and make a mark. Next, take the downstream sensor, checking the label and noting the flow direction. Add couplant and begin spacing the sensor on the pipe, remembering the total space needed between both sensors. Tighten down the pipe straps and start to align the sensors. Using a tape measure, I can make sure the sensors are accurately spaced, matching the required spacing which the meter had displayed. Make fine adjustments until properly spaced and tight. If there is fluid flowing through the pipe, soon after everything is set up correctly, the meter should start measuring flow. But there are a few key values you need to check to ensure the meter is working properly. First, enter menu 91. Check the TOM-TOS ratio. This value shown is the transit time ratio. A normal expected ratio is 100% with 3% allowed variance. So between 97 and 103%. Next, check menu 90 to display signal. You want signal to be as high as possible. Check these three values displayed. In general, these values should be 65 or higher for normal operation. If any of these checks are out of range, it can indicate a problem with the application or installation. Please recheck parameters and installation, or check through the installation guide and manual to troubleshoot. Maybe there is a parameter incorrectly set or a problem like not enough straight pipe length causing flow turbulence, aeration, or too much suspended solids. Now you can press the rate shortcut to toggle between the various flow displays. If you want to change the flow units, go to menu 31. Press enter, scroll the list of units, then enter to select. You can then choose a time unit. In this example, I set it to liters per minute. And you can also change the totalizer unit. Again, for example, I have set it to liters. Now on the rate display, my units have changed as it was set. Also on the totalizer display, the unit has changed as it was set. You can also enter menu 01 to show the flow rate and velocity. Now everything is working. If required, you can wall mount the meter. You can use the template to drill and prepare mounting holes, then use the included wall plugs and screws. These holes shown are for wall mounting. Double check all your cable glands are tight. Then screw the case closed. 4 screws total, 1 in each corner. You can also close the hinged screw covers. That concludes the demonstration. If you get stuck, you can refer to our written quick start guide. It has detailed information and pictures showing how to use the flow meter. There is also a troubleshooting section which may prove helpful.